This is John Martinka, and welcome to another edition of the Getting the Deal Done podcast series. And my special guest today, very special guest, is my friend, George Wu. George has a very interesting background that he will tell you about, and it will, if nothing else, show you that you don't have to have direct industry experience to be a successful small, mid-sized business owner. So welcome, George.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John, for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you moved from what you started out with to business ownership.
Sure. So I went to medical school, undergraduate medical school in the East Coast, and I became a transplant surgeon. Practiced for a few years, and I was a computer science major during my undergrad years. And while I was practicing, and I don't know if you know this story, John, but I was actually planning to move to another big transplant center. And I was on the way to an interview and my car broke down. And I was hanging out in the highway for 3 hours. And this was in the early 2000s or so. And so there's no iPhone or anything. And I was just contemplating, I think, what am I doing with my life? I should do something that's, that I don't have to spend, all the time, every weekend, being in the hospital. So actually that was the moment when I decided to leave clinical practice. So I went to do clinical informatics. I was then double boarded afterwards to do clinical informatics, worked for Aetna, United, and other IT firms to help with their clinical analytics. And after all of that, I feel like I really want to be my own boss. I feel like I can, it's just a lot more fun and, less restrictions. So I started looking for companies to buy. And by chance, I was talking to my neighbor who actually did some acquisitions, and he said, "Hey, you need to talk to John Martinka." And that's how I called you, started talking, and had my first business that I acquired about 4 or 5 years ago. And then I acquired my second business last year.
Yeah, I'm really glad Ed put us together.
Yeah.
So your first deal closed about 4 years ago. And the business is the Catering Company.
Yeah.
And tell us about catering and what attracted you to it?
So I really didn't know anything about catering at all. I had some food experience. I helped open a restaurant, early 20s, late teens, in Hong Kong, and had no experience with catering. But what attracted me to that particular business is that the owner was just wonderful to hang out with. It seems like he has created a very good culture at the company. People are there for a long time. Actually, the dishwasher is still with us, and she's been there for like 22 years. The dessert chef has been there for almost 20 years, and we have 2 or 3 other people that has been there for more than 15 years. So I think, he's created a great culture, and I've continued to foster that company culture and continue with the good that he has created. And I think that's what attracted me, right? Because, there's a lot of companies out there, and a lot of them make a certain amount, and but it not, all of them matter. But I think, if you were to come into work every day, I would like to go to a place I enjoy going. And I feel like this is the place.
I think that's really key, that you got to be able to say to yourself, I can see myself going in there every day.
Right.
So
exactly.
So you talked about the owner, the seller, and actually it was a mother and a son, and you and Greg, the son, hit it off pretty well. Mm-hmm. And tell us what that led to.
So, he's a great guy. Greg, he has helped out throughout the whole journey during the transition. I know there are some sellers out there that they just want to get out. Greg is not one of them. Greg has been helping out even after the transition period. So we had the 6-month transition period, but even afterwards, I would call him over a weekend and he would jump in and just come in and help out to help solve issues. In fact, COVID-19, when it hit, I called him and we brainstormed on what to do. We pivoted over a weekend, and we were able to create a new product to help us survive COVID-19. So because we hit it off, we had a great relationship, and also we understand the things that he enjoys doing, I'm not very good at, and things that I enjoy doing, he doesn't enjoy doing. So that was a pretty good match. So we started looking for a business together again with the help of John, and we closed on our combined first deal last year.
Yeah, that's a great story that you would do that together.
Yeah.
So what do you like about owning and running a lower middle market company, or should I say two lower middle market companies?
I like the diversity. I like that it's fun. The independence, and you always have to come up with solutions. I get bored very easily. So having, as you know, John, so this is actually pretty good for me. I get to just think about solutions every day to see, how to make it better, how to improve the efficiency, how to, make, how to even, pay employees more. I mean, that's a key. Their goal is to do a good job, and my goal is to see how I can actually bring as much money in as possible for them. So I think those are all challenges that I enjoy. The one headache that is probably the toughest headache for every any company that you acquire, unless you acquire a fully automatic robotic company that doesn't need any maintenance at all. You have to deal with people, and with people comes with a lot of emotions, comes with a lot of their own personal family stuff. And I think that's the hardest part in my job in the business is the human resources type work. That's probably the toughest. But again, I'm lucky that in both businesses I have a lot of support in the employees part, that I have a chief of staff at the catering company that is able to help me with a lot of those things.
Okay. So, yeah, people are the business, let's face it.
Yeah, people are the business, period. Yeah.
Yeah. So as we were searching both the first time and then with Greg involved, you were very wide open about the businesses you would consider buying. Talk about the process you used to eliminate the ones that, maybe they were a shiny object. How did you figure out they weren't shiny enough for you?
Yeah, so I think two main things that I use, and I'm not trying to like paraphrase, whether it's Warren Buffett or Berkshire's theory, but number one is I really look at companies that I can understand, and there's a lot of companies out there that looks good and is great, but I don't think I have the capability or I would like to understand. What examples I can give you? For example, I'm just making this up, right? Like government, defense type business, or even let's say building rockets or whatever, that I don't know if I can or I would like to understand further. I don't have that interest. I think interest is a big thing, and whether I am able to understand it is another. And the second part is companies that actually has very high capital expenditure requirements. Because if you need to spend $200,000 on a machine every 5 years, that cuts out, cuts away your cash flow.
Yeah.
So those two are main things. And actually, the third one is, you don't want to deal with sellers that are very, very difficult to deal with. Um, it's just you can't really deal with people that are, not, we looked at a business, remember, and the guy is, tells me that, you'll never find a better business. This is the best business. You're making a mistake if you
Mhm.
don't inquire more. I mean, that is already not a good sign.
Yeah, and regarding your first point, I remember the one that's right up from where the catering company is, and the guy made
Oh,
that
yeah,
incredible, those was filtration type of
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it was like he was the mad scientist guy
yeah.
that was still needed even though he was 80 years old.
Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, do you have plans to buy another company?
Yes, no, that definitely. I'm actually, we're always looking. Actually,
Yeah.
um, Greg and I even just, we're always looking at another opportunities.
So, one of the things you've told me is you would be interested in being a minority investor in companies. Uh, and you feel you've got something pretty valuable to bring to the table as a minority investor, fairly active, but in the background. Tell us
Yep.
about that.
So, with these two acquisitions, I also have a consulting business on the side, and all of those things, because I want to make it easy for myself from, whether it's payroll, taxes, accounting, billing, legal, taxation, all those things um, those are actually the things that I really enjoy doing, believe it or not. I don't know why I went to medical school. I should have just become a CPA, but but those are the things I really enjoy doing. And I have some people that I have carved out to do those things separately. And I've unified that into kind of a separate way so that we can support small businesses. So we help them, or I helped myself, for example, for our new acquisition to bring on board a new payroll platform, a new HR platform, a new accounting. Everything is built online, and I think that's what hopefully I can bring to the table is that I can help with the taxation, the accounting. When you look at the catering company, we're able to survive and even thrive throughout this time is because we're able to take advantage of all the different tax credits, loans, forgivable loans, grants, everything that was possible through all the different acts out there. And we're able to take advantage of all of them at a very timely fashion. And we're able to keep 75% of our employees throughout the pandemic and paying them a regular wage. So I think that is probably one of the things that I can bring to the table. And even with different types of not just income state or corporate tax, but also sales tax. For the new business that we acquired, we have to pay sales tax to 28 states. And that was a huge, very, very steep learning curve. It's almost as straight up as the Omicron variant surging. But it actually, we learned a lot, or I learned a lot about how different state work. So even if handling different types of legal and taxation issues, I'd be happy to talk to anybody at whatever business, if they're looking for a minority type investor.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is you have systematized and actually like doing a lot of the administrivia that most
Exactly.
business owners hate.
Yeah. Yeah. The SGNA. I'm the SGNA guy.
And I will answer your question on why you went to medical school. So it gave you the opportunity to meet your beautiful wife,
that,
who is
that's
also a
what
doctor.
that's what I kept telling myself.
So, hey, I want to finish up with one more thing. I know you did the catering company. You financed it with Lisa Forrest at Live
Yep.
Oak Bank. And then I know with the second one with the Fans Direct, you worked with Jennifer Ringenbach at Key Bank.
Yep.
And I know you had good experiences with both. Am I right?
Yep, very good experiences with both.
Yeah, as those are two very good bankers. I just wanted to get their names out there because
Yeah,
they did a good job for you, and then you and Greg, and
yeah, no,
they
they're
are a key
wonderful.
component to getting these deals done, is getting the money, and the banks
Yeah,
have money.
yeah, and I think that's, speaking, if you don't mind me speaking about that, I think that's the one thing that I enjoyed doing as well with Greg before our second acquisition, is that for my first acquisition, I created a cash flow type prediction model, financial model, and I actually used that for the banks, and we were able to get it funded pretty easily because I have all the numbers up, is exactly what they're looking for, and just to let you know, John, our prediction for our second acquisition for the fans, we actually have surpassed that already, which is a great thing.
Yeah. Well, you're a smart guy. You're a good business person. You've got a great partner on that business. And that's what happens. When you do the things you're supposed to do, good things happen, don't they?
Yeah, and just have fun. I mean, and bad things happen, right? Look at COVID, and
Yeah.
but you learn along the process.
Well, George, thank you so much for doing this podcast. Uh, if people would like to reach you, what's the best way? What's your email address?
You can email me at george@nvoli.com.
Okay, great. Thank you, George. And
Thank you, John.
appreciate you doing this. All the best.
Thank you.